Chapter 236. Kindness will be rewarded? But why is she here? And why is she called Zhang Xinci? In my memories, she was clearly a Gu master. Why are they saying she doesn't have cultivation aptitude and is immortal? Fang Yuan was bewildered. Is she not Zhang Xinci and is only similar in appearance? But this is too similar. No, wait a second. Fang Yuan's rummaged through his mind, and suddenly he extracted a very old information from the depths of his memories. Zhang Xinci had a rough life. She was an illegitimate child born of Shang clan leader when he had gone out to travel. She didn't have a father since young and had to endure being bullied. After her mother died, her life became more difficult. She was forced by her clansmen to follow the caravan and become a merchant. In the end, when she arrived at Shang clan city, the Shang clan leader sensed her bloodline. Shang clan leader felt both surprised and happy, admitting her as his daughter in front of the public. But he still felt he owed her a lot. Thus he would bear with and cover up a lot of her mistakes. Upon thinking this, Fang Yuan's gaze brightened. So that's it. I understand now. Combining the situation before him with the broken clues in his memories, Fang Yuan arrived at the truth. Many years ago, when Shang clan leader was only a young master of the Shang clan, he left his seed in Zhang clan. It was Zhang Xinci. Shang clan and Zhang clan were at odds with each other since ancient times. When Zhang Xinci was born, her mother didn't dare to reveal about the Shang clan leader due to this. Thus, Zhang Xinci was born as a disgraceful, illegitimate child and took on her mother's surname. This was the reason why she was still being called as Zhang Xinci. After her mother died, she was forced by the clansmen to be a merchant. And after she ended up arriving at Shang clan city, her bloodline was discovered. Her father had also become the Shang clan leader, and with such a high status, he acknowledged her in front of everybody, completely changing her fate. So to say, this caravan is her first journey as a merchant. Fang Yuan's heart began to thump loudly when he realized this point. One should know. This Zhang Xinci was a stock that was absolutely guaranteed to increase. She was the future Shang clan leader. No one would believe it if it was said now. Of course, the future was prone to changes. Even in the original track in his memories, there were drastic changes in the world, and even the powerful Shang clan was already ruined by the time she became the clan leader to Tio Fang Yuan. Waiting till she became Shang clan leader was a very long investment without any returns. Her value didn't lie in the time she became the clan leader, but rather when she was acknowledged by the Shang clan leader and became one of the Shang clan's young masters. As a young master, she would definitely be given responsibility over a part of the business. This was the tradition of the Shang clan to nurture the clan's successors. It was exactly this point which Fang Yuan desired. He needed a way to dispose of the goods, a stable, favorable, and safe channel in his important plans after his rebirth. This was absolutely necessary. In the future, he would definitely open up many secret inheritances. There would be many things which he does not need, and by selling them he would be revealing their enormous worth. For instance, those Bone Spear Gu and Spiral Bone Spear Gu in by Ningbing's aperture currently. Fang Yuan and by Ningbing just needed one of them, at most another one for backup. If they didn't sell them, these Gu would just die in their hands, and they would even waste a lot of milk in feeding them. Previously, Fang Yuan had intended to temporarily use Jia Jinsheng as a channel to dispose goods. Then it would be best if he could connect to Jia Fu to nurture this channel. The result: Destiny liked to play with people. Because of being subjected to the secret of Flower Wine Monk's inheritance, he had no choice but to kill Jia Jinsheng. This is a gift heaven has sent to me. Fang Yuan heaved a deep sigh as his gaze towards the distant Shang Xinci turned bright as fire. Shang clan had deep foundations, at least before that violent storm which engulfed the southern border. It was one of the overlords of the southern border. When stolen goods were sold to them, the victims wouldn't dare to come find trouble. However, because their influence was too strong, Fang Yuan is also worried about possible backstabbing. They belonged to righteous path on the surface, but the core of the Shang clan members were all black. This was actually quite normal. However, Zhang Xinci was the exception. She had been tested by many changes and upheaval in the history of her 100 years. Her kindness, gentleness, benevolence, and honesty were praised far and wide in Fang Yuan's previous life. her reputation resounding all over the southern border. The most important thing was that she didn't have any foundation. Different from other young masters, she would walk a solitary path after she arrived at Shangclan City. In future, she would make many mistakes, but it wasn't because she was not intelligent, but rather because of the other young masters' secret plotting to suppress their competitor. Fang Yuan needed her as a channel, and she also similarly needed the external help. Fang Yuan, if she wanted to live a better life in the future. Most importantly, she was easy to manipulate and influence. Her youth and kind nature were both weaknesses Fang Yuan could exploit. Huh? Bai Ningbing suddenly laughed from the side. You took a fancy to her, right? What? Fang Yuan's thoughts paused. Don't pretend. We are both men. I can understand just from looking at your gaze. Anyway, this little girl is quite pleasing to the eyes, but it will be very difficult for you to obtain her, unless I help you and find an opportunity to secretly kidnap her. As an exchange, give the Yanggu to me first. Bai Ningbing tried to entice Fang Yuan. However, Fang Yuan's next sentence made her seethe in anger. You are a man? You. Things were a bit troublesome now. First of all, Fang Yuan needed to approach Shang Xinci, then obtain her trust. However, he didn't have a lot of time. He must settle everything before she reaches Shangclan City. Bai Ningbing's idea of capturing her was too dumb and risky. It would just cause the situation to be even more messed up. Fang Yuan was very clear the reason why Shang Xinci could be repeatedly cheated. It was not that she was stupid, but rather she was too kind in his previous life. There was a demonic path figure called Night Gentleman. He was an expert thief and was as cunning as a fox. He had swindled Shang Xinci many times using the same excuse. One day, he couldn't endure it anymore and asked, I always tell you this. Aren't you worried I am swindling you? At that time, Shang Xinci had replied, You say you are unable to make ends meet, and if you aren't able to immediately borrow some primeval stones, your family will starve to death. I know that you are most likely deceiving me, but every time you say this, I can't bear to think that what if you were saying the truth this time? And if I didn't lend you the money, then several lives might be lost. Although, that is not likely to happen, I don't want to bet on it. When the Night Lord heard Shang Xinci's reply, he couldn't stop his tears from flowing. He was so moved by her that he fell on his knees on the spot. After this event, he changed from demonic to righteous, and followed Shang Xinci with unwavering loyalty, achieving many war exploits. The sun was slowly swallowed by the mountain ranges in the west, and the night gradually descended. The long queue of people also decreased, till all the servants received food and dispersed. All right, that's it for today. I will come again tomorrow. She hadn't even finished speaking when a figure suddenly jumped in front of her. What kind of face was this? Eyebrows all burnt off. Only a bit of hair remained, and one ear less. Who was it if not Fang Yuan? Shang Xinci was startled. The maids behind her even screamed in fright. What the hell are you doing? That tall and sturdy old Gu master immediately shouted. Lady Zhang, please buy my goods. Fang Yuan didn't care about this old Gu master, and screamed towards Shang Xinci. Bai Ningbing silently stood far away, enjoying Fang Yuan's performance. I have one steamed bun remaining. Take it, okay? Shang Xinci revealed a gentle smile. She didn't feel any revulsion towards Fang Yuan, only sympathy. She tried to think of how much pain he must have experienced for such severe wounds. Sigh, such a pitiful person. Fang Yuan but threw the steamed bun on the ground. I don't need this. I want to sell my goods. I sold my old house and bought this cart of purple maple leaves. But I haven't been able to sell it. The leaves will soon wither up. What meaning will my life have then? Sob sob. I don't want to live if I can't sell it. I should just smash my head and die. He started to weep while speaking. He stamped his feet and howled. His expression carried a hint of madness and was extremely moving. Bai Ningbing was dumbstruck. This acting skill, I really have no hope of catching up. If she didn't know about Fang Yuan, even she might have been deceived by Fang Yuan. She then observed the expressions and gazes of the crowd, stunned, disdainful, sympathy, indifference, but there were no suspicions. Who is this man? Charging over so suddenly, scared me to death. Such greed. He actually wants Lady Zhang to buy his goods. Serves him right. Does he think trading is so easy? Sigh. The buyers must have demanded a lower price. When I think of those times I encountered, there were all kinds of discussions going on in the crowd. Tisk, you lunatic, you actually dared to frighten our young lady. Screw off this instant. That old Gu master's tongue seemed to give off lightning sparks as he took a step forward and protected Shang Xinci behind him. Lady Zhang, I don't want to live if you don't buy my goods. Lady Zhang, you are a good person. Please buy this cart of purple maple leaves and save me. Fang Yuan wailed without ceasing. Shang Xinci's heart softened. Sigh, don't cry. I will buy them. But life is the most valuable thing in our life. Live properly from now and don't give up on life so easily. Uncle Zhangzhu, give him 3 primeval stones. Miss, the old Gu master's brows furrowed. Huh, it worked. Maybe I should do this too. A commotion erupted among the stall owners. Thank you, lady. Thank you. Lady Zhang, you are my Heitu's savior. Fang Yuan was greatly ecstatic and there were signs of tears on his face as he repeatedly bowed. The old Gu master's eyelids twitched. He looked at the cart behind Fang Yuan. This cart of purple maple leaves is worth 2 primeval stones at most. 3 is too much. Uncle Zhangzhu, Shang Xinci said with a soft voice. The old Gu master heaved a deep sigh. Miss, it isn't that I am unwilling to part with 3 primeval stones. But this amount is too big for a mere servant like him. It is bound to attract those who will eye the money and scheme against him. Miss, for his own safety, we should just give him 2 primeval stones. Moreover, all the peddlers might come over tomorrow if you give it to him like this. Uncle Zhangzhu is correct. Then please give him 2 primeval stones. Shang Xinci pondered for a while and readily agreed. Fang Yuan accepted the 2 primeval stones with trembling hands. He looked deeply at Shang Xinci. Miss Zhang, you are a great person. You will definitely be rewarded. Chapter 237, Thrashing. Many stall owners looked at Fang Yuan in envy. Fang Yuan put the 2 primeval stones he received into his pocket, and abandoning the handcart, he directly left the small bazaar with Bai Ning Bing. The way I see it, we should just directly capture her. Don't forget our current identities if you want to approach her. Bai Ning Bing murmured quietly. Fang and Bai were currently laborers under Qin clan. They had relied on this identity to mix in with the caravan. But now this was undoubtedly the obstacle for Fang Yuan in approaching Shang Xinci. However, Fang Yuan had already planned for it. He looked at Bai Ning Bing and smiled. You are right. So I will go thrash people now. Bai Ning Bing was stumped. Thrash? The clear night sky was studded with the bright stars. In a wide tent, several servants were sitting in a circle around a coal stove which had a pot on it. The upper part of the tent was opened, allowing the smoke from the burning coals to fly out. There was meat in the pot and the servants were all staring fixedly at it. Faint aroma of cooked meat began to float in the air and one could hear the occasional gulps of saliva. Brother Chang, I have made some inquiries on the details of the 2 newcomers. Skinny Monkey said. Oh, speak. The muscular servant called Brother Chang raised his eyebrows. These 2 were introduced by the village head of the hamlet near the Ziyu mountain. Skinny Monkey answered. That solves it. I remember that village head was originally immortal. The vice leader wanted a strategic point and casually awakened him. So they had this background. The group seemed to have come upon a realization. Although they have a Gu master behind them, so what? Brother Chang's sister is our Lord Qin Xian's concubine. Someone shouted. These 2 newcomers are too bold. If they aren't taught a lesson, wouldn't they just climb over our head in the future? Keep quiet. We will listen to Brother Chang. Someone else shouted. The tent quieted down as everyone looked towards Brother Chang. Brother Chang appeared to be hesitating. Fang and Bai had a Gu master behind them. Even if this Gu master was not a Qin clan member, even if this Gu master was an old geezer with half a foot in the coffin, he was in the end still a Gu master. Have you found out the relation these 2 has with that old village head? Skinny Monkey immediately revealed an awkward expression. This, Brother Chang, you also know that with our identities, being able to investigate even this is already not an easy thing. Brother Chang hesitated. Boss, these 2 newcomers are too unreasonable. Look at their attitudes towards the Skinny Monkey today. They are clearly looking down at us. They must be taught a lesson. Right. That old village head was originally a mortal like us, and with some bullshit luck became a Gu master. What can we even take him as? Wasn't he able to become a Gu master only because our V leader wanted to use him? He is no more than a high-ranked servant. Moreover, the caravan merchants always face dangers. Even if these two died, that village head wouldn't dare to settle it with our Chan clan. The noisy discussions made Brother Chang's frowns even deeper. The skinny monkey observed the situation for a long while. He had wanted to find trouble for Feng and Bai, but was instead oppressed by Fang Yuan this morning, causing him to feel full of hatred towards the latter. However, he knew that he had no background, and he could only rely on Brother Chang for revenge. When he felt the time was right, he spoke. For the life of me, I can't believe what I heard earlier. A cart of purple maple leaves was actually sold for 2 primeval stones in the little bazaar. Brother Chang's eyes immediately brightened. What? 2 primeval stones? How can it be possible? The prices weren't lowered. Such luck. Which fool bought it? Skinny Monkey sneered as he spoke with disdain and envy. Who else is there? It is that young lady from Zhang clan, a mortal, but look at her luck, living a good life. Damn, I recall how I had smuggled in some goods and how cheap I had to sell them. Why didn't I have these 2 guys' luck? Brother Chang's eyes became bloodshot. He indignantly said, We will put them in order tomorrow. Newcomers must show respect to their seniors. If they don't understand the rules, then we will just have to properly teach them. Yes, Brother Chang. We will do whatever Brother Chang says. Brother Chang is wise. Skinny Monkey flattered, then took out the stew with a soup ladle. The meat stew is done. Brother Chang, please taste it. The aroma of the meat assailed the nostrils. The Adam apples of many servants moved as they swallowed their saliva. Brother Chang licked his lips and took the soup ladle. He blew at it before bringing it closer to his mouth. Suddenly, the entrance curtain of the tent was lifted open. Fang Yuan walked inside. It's you. The crowd of servants were stunned. The target of their long schemings had unexpectedly appeared directly in front of them. This made them feel at a loss and dismayed. Skinny Monkey jumped to his feet and said with a sinister smile, Newbie, now you know fear? It is already too late for Apollo. He hadn't finished saying his sentence when Fang Yuan indifferently raised his foot. Bam! Skinny Monkey was directly kicked flying, his back smashing against the coal stove. The cooked meat stew splashed all over his body and burned him, causing him to scream tragically. The meat stew. All spilled. The meat we bought with our money pooled together. It is so hard to even taste it once. This bastard. Bastard, courting death. Instantly, all the servants stood up with resentment and roared as they charged at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan threw the 2 primeval stones he was holding in his hand at them. Ouch. 2 persons were hit by the primeval stones. One covered his eyes and another covered his stomach, both screaming in pain. Despicable, actually using concealed weapons. Wait a second, this is primeval stones? The crowd that was charging over immediately slowed down when they heard this. 2 primeval stones lying on the ground drew the servants' gazes. Skinny Monkey's tragic scream also came to an abrupt stop as he stared fixedly at the primeval stones. Birds die for food, humans die for wealth. Has this guy gone mad? Actually throwing primeval stones at people? He must have already been scared. These are primeval stones. I might not even earn one after 2 months of working. The group of servants' thoughts rumbled like the raging tide. Some started looking at Fang Yuan with a bit of hope, as if asking, Do you have more primeval stones? Come smash them at me. You dare to smash my eye? You are looking to die. The servant covering the eyes shouted as he let go of his hand. His right eye was already swollen and purplish. He couldn't even open it. However, that didn't hinder him from grabbing the primeval stone. The rest of the servants quivered, and they immediately looked at the other primeval stone on the ground. Bam! Every one of them pounced at that primeval stone, throwing everything about Fang Yuan to the back of their heads. Skinny Monkey gritted his teeth in pain as he grabbed towards the primeval stone, quicker than others. Mine, this is mine. He smashed it at me. The other servant who had been hit roared furiously. Screw off, monkey. Weren't you injured? Why are you so fast? Someone shouted with his saliva flying all over. Shut your trap. Who tripped me just now? Stand up. Brother Chang's face was covered with dirt. He was furious. Suddenly, a hand appeared and pulled him. Who had such guts? Surprised and angry, he turned his head to look. Coming face to face with none other than Fang Yuan's ugly face, he shouted, How dare you grab me? Let go of your dog paw. Bam! Fang Yuan waved his fist and punched his face. Brother Chang's nose bone instantly broke and blood started flowing madly. He felt intense dizziness, and all he saw were stars spinning around. Fang Yuan let go of his hand and Brother Chang fell softly to the ground. My God! He punched Brother Chang. Brother Chang is injured. Let's attack this bastard together. The servants were stumped for a while before coming back to their senses, immediately brandishing their fists as they pounced at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan indifferently swept his fist horizontally, sending the nearest servant flying to the side. The servant's teeth were smashed. Immediately following, another servant closed at him. Fang Yuan aimed at his crotch and lightly kicked. "Oh, you." This servant covered his crotch, his two eyes rolled over and immediately fainted. All the servants were down on the ground with few punches and kicks from Fang Yuan. The only one remaining was Skinny Monkey, who was hiding in the corner. As Fang Yuan gazed at him, Skinny Monkey shivered and immediately fell onto the ground. I surrender. Great hero, please be magnanimous." He begged loudly, kowtowing continuously. His head smashed on the ground and continued to produce muffled sounds. However, there was no sound of Fang Yuan's movement. Skinny Monkey raised his head with fear, but Fang Yuan had already left. The servants inside the tent were collapsed on the ground. Some had fainted and some were moaning in pain. Fang Yuan walked in between the tents. The noise from earlier would have attracted many people. This was what Fang Yuan wanted. Bai Ningbing walked over from within a dark corner. "It is just the first day, and we have already beaten up working servants. This won't be good." She grinned, taking joy in this disaster. However, she was even more curious of why Fang Yuan did this. Fang Yuan didn't reply, walking towards the depths of this temporary camp. Soon, he arrived at his destination, a horse carriage. He had already inquired and knew this was where the old steward of the Chun clan slept. He didn't immediately go and knock on the carriage, but went into a dark area with no one in the vicinity. He took out the dagger he carried with him and began to slash himself. In the quiet surroundings, a soft sound of dagger cutting open of flesh could be heard. Bai Ningbing's brows raised when she heard it. She, once again, realized how ruthless and cruel Fang Yuan was. He didn't make even a sound when he cut himself with the dagger, and from the sound of it, he seemed to be quite skilled at it. It was as if he was not cutting himself, but some wood. Thud, thud, thud. The carriage door was knocked continuously. The narrow carriage was filled with goods, along with a small bed. Fortunately, the old steward was short, and when he curled up on the small bed, it didn't appear to be congested. Thud, thud, thud. The door was knocked again. The old steward, who had been sleeping soundly, frowned as he got up from the bed. Bang, bang, bang. The knocks were getting stronger. The old steward opened his bloodshot eyes. "Who is it?" "It is me, old steward." A sound came in from outside the door. This voice was unfamiliar, but it also seemed to be a little familiar. The old steward's brows furrowed tighter, and after a long while, he recalled this voice belonged to the newcomer that joined just this morning. A newcomer actually doesn't understand the rules. What the hell are you doing disturbing someone's sleep in the middle of the night? Chapter 238. Lady, save me. The old steward's anger surged to the skies. He decided to give Fang Yuan an unforgettable lesson. Bang, he opened the door. However, the scene that appeared in front of him was Fang Yuan's injuries and bloodstains. The old steward got quite a shock. Forgetting his rage, he asked, what happened? Has a beast pack raided us?" "No, old steward. It was those thieves that injured me and snatched my primeval stones. Old steward, you need to seek justice for me." Fang Yuan wiped away his tears and shouted, "Ow, it hurts. Has that lunatic gone away? Damn it, that lunatic is too strong." The scene inside the tent was of a complete mess. The aroma of the meat stew was still there, but it could no longer be salvaged and the pot was completely smashed. The group of servants were slowly recovering their senses. They either had bloody noses and swollen faces, or they were drawing in gasps of cold air. "Son of a mere newbie dares to beat us. This has gone too far. We have not even gone to find trouble with him, yet he dared to find trouble with us first? I cannot contain this anger. We cannot let this be. We must get back at him." "How? Can you even beat him?" "Why would we beat him? We will just tell on him and let the old steward handle him. This newbie is too tyrannical. How can we still work together later?" "That's right. Pass those 2 primeval stones he threw to me. This will be the evidence," Brother Chang suddenly said. The tent immediately quieted down. Everyone knew this was just an excuse used by Brother Chang. The servants who hadn't been able to snatch the primeval stones looked at this with joy, looking at the skinny monkey and another servant. The 2 of them seemed to be mumbling, but didn't speak. Clearly, they didn't want to hand it over. Brother Chang was not stupid at all, as he said tactfully, "We are all injured. These 2 primeval stones are not only evidence, they are also our medical fees." These words resounded with the servants who wanted to have a share. As they spoke one after another, "Brother Chang is right. Monkey, hand the primeval stone to Brother Chang. Or are you thinking of becoming the boss?" Brother Chang has a deep background. Only he can avenge us. Brother Chang, we believe you. Under everyone's pressure, Skinny Monkey and the other servant could only purse their lips and unwillingly hand over their primeval stone to Brother Chang. As Brother Chang received and felt the smooth, glossy primeval stones, he felt his nose didn't hurt so much anymore. However, right at this moment, the entrance curtain was suddenly lifted. Everyone was shocked, thinking Fang Yuan had come again. But the one that was staring at the scene was the old steward. Old steward, what are you doing here? Old steward, we were just going to look for you. The servants were both surprised and joyous. The old steward's expression, however, was not good, especially when he saw those two primeval stones on Brother Chang's hand. His looks turned even more gloomy. He reached in front of Brother Chang a few steps, then snatched the primeval stones and gave several tight slaps to Brother Chang. Brother Chang was stupefied. The rest of the servants were also stupefied. After several moments, the group finally reacted. Old steward, why are you so angry? Old steward, what are you doing? The old man simply walked away and lifted open the curtains. Chang, Skinny Monkey, you group of bastards, come out. Then he directly walked out of the tent. Brother Chang covered his face, but he didn't dare to oppose the old steward. He restrained his anger and walked out of the tent in bewilderment. The rest of the servants also followed him out of the tent. When they saw Fang Yuan standing to the side, his whole body was injured and his cloth was stained with blood. Old steward, they are the ones who stole my primeval stones. Fang Yuan pointed at them and shouted with righteous indignation. What the? The servants only then reacted. Brat, you dare slander us. Asshole, I will peel off your skin. The group of servants were furious and shouted one after another. Slap. A clear slap instantly suppressed the scene. The servant who was shouting the most was covering his face and involuntarily took a step back from the slap. The old steward looked at him darkly. Why wouldn't he complain? Hee, you guys are getting more and more out of control. You even dare to snatch the primeval stones of your workmate. The old steward was well aware of the bullying on newcomers, but he was glad to see that happen. This was a necessary process. On one hand, it would suppress the arrogance of the newcomers, making his supervision work easier. On another hand, it could also promote the harmony between the old comers and the newcomers. However, the bullying this time went too far. They directly snatched the primeval stones. What difference was there between them and the bandits? Old steward, it isn't what you were thinking. Someone complained. Slap. Another clear slap. The old steward's tone turned cold. Did I tell you to speak? Old steward, we must speak up. Yes, we are being accused. Many servants shouted, feeling wronged. We are the victims here. The old steward seethed in anger as he shouted fiercely. You guys took his primeval stones and you actually dare to say you are being accused. These two primeval stones, are they his or not? Speak. Speak honestly. Yes, it is, but, slap slap, 2 slaps. The two servants shut their mouths. The old steward pointed at them and angrily rebuked. Okay, let's forget about snatching the primeval stones. You actually dared to use knives. You sure have guts. Speak up. Who used the knife? When the servants were crippled and couldn't work anymore, their recuperation and treatment would be expenses. If such matters were delayed, the target of the Goo Master's blame would be the old steward. Using knife. We didn't. Old steward, we are all experienced. Who doesn't know about this? A load of bullshit. Do you think I am blind? If you didn't use knives, then where did his injuries come from? Are you telling me he cut himself? The old steward continued to angrily shout. Bai Ningbing thought inwardly, while looking at this scene from a dark corner not far away. Old steward, you are quite smart. You actually guessed it. Slap. 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 The old steward's anger had reached an extreme as he slapped the servants one after another. Every servant received few slaps. None dared to speak up in fear of the old steward's authority. They could only clench their fists in anger. The veins in their forehead out and cracking noises were emitted from their teeth grinding. They were all filled with stuffed feeling with nowhere to vent it on. Get back to the tent. I will settle the accounts with you tomorrow. The old steward's hands were already numb from the slapping. As he was old, he was having trouble breathing, but his anger had also mostly dissipated. The servants didn't dare to go against this order. But before leaving, all of them angrily looked at Fang Yuan, engraving his image in the depths of their hearts. The old steward walked towards Fang Yuan and gave him the primeval stones, saying with an annoyed tone, You got your primeval stones back. Don't lose them again. I won't give a damn if you lose them again. Fang Yuan was sniffing and weeping. He seemed to be both moved and afraid. Old steward, Please safeguard these 2 primeval stones for me. I am afraid they will be snatched. Old steward was speechless for a while, before feeling a rush of excitement. Merchants will always be in danger. Maybe one day Fang Yuan would be swallowed by the wild beasts. Wouldn't these 2 primeval stones be his then? All right, I will take it upon myself to safeguard them for you. The old steward said. Thank you, old steward. You truly are a good person. Fang Yuan repeatedly bowed and kept on expressing his thanks. All right, I am tired. You should go rest too. The old steward waved his hand and impatiently walked away. As for where Fang Yuan slept, it wasn't his concern. This He-Tu is truly stupid. The old steward sneered inwardly. After everyone left, Fang Yuan's expression turned back to normal. The wounds on your body are still bleeding. Aren't you going to treat them? Bai Ningbing came over. I still have use for them. Let's go. Fang Yuan smiled. Inside a tent, oil lamps were lit. Shang Xinci was holding a book, when suddenly her brows slightly furrowed. Xiao Dai, did you hear that? It seemed like someone is crying for help. The servant girl called Xiao Dai was dozing off with her head slowly moving up and down. It wouldn't be okay if she slept before the young lady. Right now, she was startled awake. She leaned her ears to listen and immediately said, Wah, someone is crying for help. Who is crying so late in the night? Why is it you again? Shang Xinci's bodyguard Gu Master Zhang Zhu walked out and saw Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan was slumped on the ground, snot and tears falling down. Get lost. I will kill you if you don't get lost right this moment. Zhang Zhu shouted. He didn't have good impression of Fang Yuan. Uncle Zhang Zhu. At this time, Shang Xinci and the servant girl walked out. How come it is you again? Are you haunting us? The servant girl's eyes were wide open when she saw Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan ignored them and only looked at Shang Xinci. Zhang clan lady, my life has been harmed by you, and only you can save me. TSK, you lunatic, what nonsense are you saying? Zhang Zhu angrily shouted. Our young lady is very kind-hearted. How could she harm you? Lady, let's go. Don't pay attention to this lunatic. The servant girl chided Fang Yuan. Shang Xinci's nature was such that she could never see others suffering and helplessness. Fang Yuan's blood-soaked and wounded body had already won her sympathy. Now, with his words, if Shang Xinci didn't get involved, she would definitely not be able to have a good sleep. You say you were harmed by me? What do you mean? Uncle Zhang Zhu, I have to trouble you to heal him first. Shang Xinci said. Although Zhang Zhu was not willing, he could only do as she said. He pushed his hands. A white ball of light entered Fang Yuan's body. The bleeding immediately stopped, and the wounds were gradually closing up. Fang Yuan said, It was those 2 primeval stones. The others were envious of it and snatched my primeval stones. I can't fight them and could only ask the old steward to uphold justice. They have returned the primeval stones, but threatened that they will teach me a lesson and make my life worse than death. So, it was like that. Shang Xinci sighed when she heard this. You reap what you sow. Lady, we shouldn't get involved with him. He clearly brought this upon himself, selling at such a high price. Did he think everything would be fine? Xiao Dai rolled her eyes, showing her displeasure at Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan continued. I have discussed it with my companion. We can only rely on Lady Zhang. Otherwise, we will be killed by them. 2 lives will be lost. It won't go as far as killing. Shang Xinci comforted Fang Yuan. Fang Yuan interrupted her. Lady, you don't know how dark it is here. They will plot against me during the beast attacks. Maybe one day, I will be eaten by the wild beasts, but actually it was manipulated by them behind the scenes. Lady, I beg you to take us in your shelter. Please save us. Shang Xinci hesitated, but she finally couldn't bring herself to reject him. All right, I will temporarily take you guys in. Chapter 239, Feiho Mountain. Miss, you can't. Zhang Zhu immediately said. Miss, our Zhang clan's group here has the least power in the whole caravan. If we take him in, no doubt we will offend another force. It's not worth doing it for just 2 insignificant servants. Miss, even if not for yourself, think about our Zhang clan's group here. Or just think of those with you. Zhang Zhu persuaded. This. Shang Xinci was placed in a dilemma and couldn't make a decision. What difficulty is there? Lady Zhang, I am only a hired hand of Qin family and am not their servant. Lady, if you are still feeling troubled, I have a way to solve it. You can tell the Qin clansmen that I and my companion offended you, and you want to punish us so you are imprisoning us. Qin clan definitely won't offend you for us 2 mortals. Fang Yuan said, That is a good idea. Shang Xinc's gaze brightened. Miss. Zhang Zhu gave a helpless sigh, knowing he couldn't persuade her anymore. Fang Yuan immediately crawled up with a stick and bowed at Shang Xinci. Miss Zhang, you are a good person. I will definitely repay you in the future. Shang Xinci shook her head. I don't need you to repay me. I will definitely help those who need my help to the best of my ability. Sleep in my camp tonight. Shall I arrange a tent for them? Yes, Missy. Shao Dai answered, unwillingly. Follow me. Don't blame me if you get lost. Shao Dai didn't show Fang Yuan any hospitality, but led the way anyway. Zhang Zhu's brows furrowed deeper as he looked at Fang and Bai's leaving figures. He didn't like these two from the depths of his heart. And at the same time, he had to think of Shang Xinc's safety as her bodyguard. He decided to personally handle this matter. This was a small tent with not much space inside. However, Fang and Bai didn't care. They had treated even the beast-trapping trees as tents, much less this environment, which was much better. The two laid down in the dark tent. Fang Yuan clasped his hands with Bai Ningbing's. Everything will be okay, Bai Yun. Bai Ningbing rolled her eyes. She knew Fang Yuan's true intention. In the darkness, she transferred a portion of her snow-silver primeval essence to Fang Yuan through her palm. Sleep early. Luckily, we met such a good person like Lady Zhang. Fang Yuan closed his eyes the moment he finished saying this, and began cultivating secretly. He was already rank 2 now. His primeval sea filled with red steel primeval essence. Although he could already use 4 flavors liquor worm, Bai Ningbing's snow-silver primeval essence was no doubt much better. To Fang Yuan, for flavors liquor worm had already lost its use with Bai Ningbing here. Snow-silver primeval essence cleaned and refined the aperture, rapidly increasing Fang Yuan's accumulation. He didn't need to worry about his aura leaking out with the breath-concealing goo. His disguise wasn't likely to be broken unless he used the goo worms outside of his body. At present, breath-concealing goo had yet to truly walk onto the world stage. In his previous life, only after 150 years, it was made popular by the hunting king Sun Gone. Within 50 years after that, in that great war that affected the whole southern border, breath-concealing goo was widely used and took the limelight. In other words, according to Fang Yuan's previous life, mankind would be conscious of guarding against the breath-concealing goo only after 150 years. And after 200 years, they would have methods and experience to respond against the breath-concealing goo. Breath-concealing goo was a rank 3 goo. This caravan didn't have a rank 4 goo master, and although there were many goo masters, why would they especially pay attention to He Tu and Bai Yun, 2 ordinary people? Fang Yuan immediately activated crocodile strength goo after the portion of snow-silver primeval essence was used up. Bits of new strength was permanently added to his body. His skeleton was no longer white, but was like firm black iron. It was like a firm cornerstone, stably supporting the continuous increase in strength. The night passed quietly. The next day, at the crack of dawn when the sun had just risen, the whole camp was awake. After a period of hustling and bustling, the caravan resumed its journey. Zhang Zhu didn't go directly to Qin clan, but rather made secret inquiries through his subordinates first. There was indeed a fight yesterday night, and many had witnessed it. As for Brother Chang and his group, they had covered up the fact that Fang Yuan had beat them up. If it were to be known that so many of them couldn't beat one Fang Yuan, they would lose all their face. How would they be able to go around then? In fact, they had gone through everything yesterday and strung up false statements which they all agreed to, saying they bullied the newcomer and Fang Yuan offered them primeval stones. But later he was indignant and looked for the old steward. After confirming the fight really happened, Zhang Zhu set out and found Qin clan's head in the caravan. This vice leader couldn't help but ponder when he heard his 2 mortal subordinates offended Zhang Xinci and were detained. Although he wouldn't offend Zhang clan because of 2 mortals, if he just readily compromised, Qin clan's prestige could fall. Moreover, he had some close people among the servants. Thereupon, he inquired which 2 servants they were. Qin clan's vice leader was slightly surprised when he heard Zhang Zhu's answer. He had some impressions of these 2. He had let them enter because of the old village head's request. But to think they had screwed up on their first day. According to him, Fang and Bai should be the old village head's relatives. But so what? The old village head was someone he enlightened and was someone under his control. Giving up these 2 would not mean anything to him. Moreover, they were the ones who had committed crimes, bringing troubles upon Qin clan. Even death would not be sufficient punishment. As he thought of this, the vice leader had already decided to give up these 2 to resolve the conflict with Zhang clan. However, He put on a difficult expression. Brother Zhang, I won't conceal from you. Our Qin clan might not have enough manpower if you take those two. We can't make our Gu masters work and move the goods, right? How about this? I will call my steward over. He understands the situation. If there really is a scarcity in manpower, we might not be able to hand those two to you at the moment. We will temporarily keep them here and hand them to your Zhang clan to deal with after we get new workers in the next village. That works. Zhang Zhe nodded his head. Vice leader couldn't help but reveal a smile. Like this, there wouldn't be any gossips and rumors saying Qin clan was afraid of Zhang clan. The old steward was somewhat nervous when he was called over. Did I make some mistake? However, when he was clear of the situation, he suddenly felt alive. This was a heaven-sent opportunity. These two are really out of luck, falling into Zhang clan's hands. Die, both of you die, then those two primeval stones would be mine. Thinking of this, the old steward immediately slapped his chest and guaranteed that there were no issues with the manpower, even if there were to be some issues. He was determined to stake out his weary aged body to personally move goods for those two primeval stones. Now, the dust had already settled regarding this matter. Zhang Zhu bade his farewell. His heart, however, felt stuffed. In the coming dozen or so days, Feng and Bai worked during the day and cultivated during night. The caravan had already left Ziyu Mountain far behind and was now in Fei Home Mountain region. Fang Yuan knew the farther they were from Ziyu Mountain, more concealed his identity would be, and thus more safety. Through these few days of cultivating, he had gained half a crocodile's strength. Unfortunately, a lot of bone spear Gu had starved to death. The amount of milk spring on him was less than sufficient. He could only give up some to feed the remaining Gu worms. Fang Yuan felt heartache due to this. Although he wouldn't use these Gu, they could have been sold. He planned to purchase a set of Gu worms in the Shang clan city. This required a great amount of primeval stones. He could use the heavenly essence treasure lotus to produce dozens of primeval stones daily, but he couldn't use it in the caravan so as to prevent his identity from being revealed. Hence, he needed to get Shang Xinci in his grasp even more. She would become one of the young masters once they reached Shang clan. This would make Fang Yuan's trip in Shang clan city extremely convenient. Of course, the premise was that he not only needed to get close to Shang Xinci, but also gain her trust. The forest in the mountain was dark and mysterious with fog lingering around the air. The caravan slowly moved through the narrow mountain passage, and as they traveled further, the fog became denser. The range of their sight shrunk till they could only see within 10 steps. Fei Home Mountain was covered with fog. Feng and Bai would need to go through great troubles if they had traveled by themselves. However, they were in a caravan now, and there naturally were investigative Gu masters. Suddenly, there was some sort of clamor in front of them. The caravan stopped. What's happening? There is trouble. Monkey groups are blocking our path. In moments, most of the people in the caravan began discussing, but none of them were surprised. Fei Home Mountain was ruled by monkeys. There were too many monkeys to count. Caravans passing through this place would be blocked by the monkey groups and robbed. Anyone who had some experience and knowledge would not feel surprised at this. Monkeys of the Fei Home Mountain? Hee, I have read about them in the books. To think I could personally see them today. Bai Ning Bing softly said with a hint of excitement. Initially, when the caravans had first passed through Fei Home Mountain, they had a huge fight with the monkey groups. They killed waves after waves of monkeys, but the monkey groups appeared again and again. Finally, the caravans were either annihilated or had to retreat in defeat. Fei Home Mountain was once known as a forbidden and unpassable land for merchants. If it were other mountain ranges, the different wild beasts kept each other in check, and there would be a gap to pass through. However, there were only bandit monkeys in Fei Home Mountain. They lived together, and although there were fights between monkey groups, all the bandit monkeys would unite if they came across an external enemy. Such strength was not something a caravan could rival. Even a large-scale clan might not be able to purge all these monkey groups. This was until the Sky Crown Marquis appeared. This was a rank 5 Gu master of the righteous path. He traveled deep into Fei Home Mountain until he reached the peak, and using a monkey language Gu, he came to an agreement with the monkey emperor. Everything changed thereafter. A trade route opened through Fei Home Mountain for the first time. Now, this trade route was one of the 3 most important trade routes of southern border, connecting east and west. Its importance was self-evident. These damn monkeys appeared again. They are blocking up our path. You all know the rules. I will tell you bluntly, anyone who breaks the rules and implicates us, my Jia clan will not let them off. The caravan leader shouted, coldly, of course. Brother Jia Long is right. Everything should be done according to the rules. Anyone that wants to take advantage will be driven out of the caravan. Other vice leaders went along with Jialong. Chapter 240. Arm Wrestling. Bandit monkeys were very strong and were as big as an elephant. Mature bandit monkey could reach 10 meters of height and had bulging muscles all over their body. Their arms were over 2 times thicker than their legs, and their tails were like iron rods, capable of pulverizing rocks. The fur of bandit monkeys were golden with black tiger stripes covering their body. What was peculiar was the fur from their waist grew out naturally to cover the crotch and the butt area, just like a leather skirt. Howl, the monkey king of this bandit monkey group, suddenly opened its large mouth and gave a loud howl. Its howl were as forceful as lions and tigers. Huulupu, the monkey king's howl was answered by the other monkeys. The howls created sound waves which engulfed the surroundings, scattering the winds and clouds along with the dense white fog. Within seconds, everyone's sights broadened, and only then did they realize both sides of the passageway were filled with bandit monkeys. Over 1,000 bandit monkeys had surrounded the caravan. They were enormous, the same size as the trees. Some young trees could only reach up to their waist. In front of the caravan was the monkey king, who had an even larger physique and was boldly sitting on a stone bench. A gray stone wine jar that was as big as a water tank was lying on its side, giving off a dense fragrance of alcohol. The monkey king stopped after howling once, but the other bandit monkeys were still howling without stop. This instead enhanced the monkey king's majesty. Its eyes were sharp and bright, its gaze tranquil as it sat there without moving. In contrast, those ordinary bandit monkeys were getting restless as they stared at the caravan's goods, itching to have a go. Wild beasts like monkey, fox, and wolves possessed intelligence. This bandit monkey king's intelligence might only be equal to a 3-year-old child and wasn't at the level of cunning lightning wolf, but it was enough for it to communicate. The leader of the caravan, Jialong, narrowed his eyes at the monkey king and suddenly said, "Jiayong, go." "Yes, chief." Jiayong stood up. He was tall and fat, especially with his bulging stomach, but he was actually rather robust. He was defensive goo master, and his life-bound goo was water armor goo. He was a rank 2 goo master and was specialized in fighting in water. Once, when he was swimming in a river, he luckily encountered a boat-sized tortoise and killed it, obtaining a tortoise strength goo from its body. After he used it, he was able to permanently gain the strength of a tortoise. The monkey groups howled even more fiercely when they saw Jiayong coming closer, their voices shaking the whole forest. Jiayong had a solemn expression as he lifted his sleeves and stood in front of the monkey king. The monkey king was enormous, and even while sitting, it was still taller than Jiayong by a head. It looked at Jiayong and howled. Several bandit monkeys immediately brought a stone table while panting hard. The stone table was as large as a bed and was extremely heavy, producing a muffled sound as it landed on the ground. Another 2 bandit monkeys came over and moved a stone stool, placing it in front of the monkey king. The monkey king slammed at the stone table. The sounds produced was as if he had beaten a large drum. Jiayong gulped a mouthful of saliva and sat down. He placed his right elbow on the table and extended his forearm. The monkey king similarly extended his left hand. 2 palms tightly grasped each other. Beside the table was an elderly female bandit monkey who suddenly shouted. Jiayong and the monkey king heard the signal and immediately put strength in their arms, starting this uncommon style of strength contest. Bandit monkeys respected strength, and arm wrestling was their main social activity. Young monkeys could arm wrestle immediately after being born. Arm wrestling was not only a game for bandit monkeys, it was also commonly used method to resolve disputes. In the past, the righteous goo master Sky Crown Marquis was only a rank 5 goo master. He naturally wasn't able to slaughter the mountain with this strength. It was this arm wrestling custom of the bandit monkeys he used to reach the peak of the bandit monkey mountain and win against the monkey emperor. He was then able to obtain the monkey group's approval and came to an agreement, opening the trade route. From then on, any caravans that were passing through Fei Home Mountain would follow this agreement and arm wrestle with the bandit monkeys. If they won, they would obtain the bandit monkeys' approval and be able to pass without paying the toll. If they lost, they would have to let the monkey group take a portion of their goods. With this, the caravans could carry out their business, and the bandit monkeys were also happy to be able to get benefits. As the years went by, and the caravans abided by the agreement, the trade route began to gradually flourish. And the agreement also gradually stabilized. Jiayong, sitting opposite the monkey king, was flushed red. His expression was twisted as he was already using all his strength. However, he still couldn't resist the monkey king's strength. and his arm began to gradually incline to the side until finally the Monkey King's arm slammed Jia Yong's arm to the table. Victory. Monkey King stood up and excitedly beat his chest with his fists. The rest of the monkeys were howling and screeching. The noise was frightening. Jia Yong walked back to the caravan with his head lowered. The bandit monkeys teased and taunted him while he was walking back. Some lifted their leather skirt, showing their butts at Jia Yong. Some made faces, and some shook their fingers at him. To think there would be a day where I am ridiculed by a bunch of beasts. Jia Yong gave a helpless sigh with a bitter smile on his face. Jia Long showed no expression and just raised his hand. Jia Clan's troops began to move forward. The monkeys flocked towards them and began to wantonly take goods from the wagons. Jia Clan had already made careful considerations. They covered the high-quality coalstones with a layer of colorful and gorgeous silk and thin fabric. The monkeys were all attracted by these colorful cloth and let go of the more valuable ash-gray high-quality coalstones. The monkeys were very happy with their choices, playing around with the cloths. Many wrapped the cloth around their arms, waists, and even draped the cloth over their shoulders. The whole scene was noisy and chaotic. "Where's Jiaping?" Jia Long shouted with a heavy voice. Jiaping slowly walked out. His body was starkly in contrast to Jia Yong. He was thin as stick and looked extremely fragile. "I will avenge you." He patted Jia Yong's shoulder as he walked past him. "This will naturally be easily over with brother Jiaping making a move." Jia Yong cupped his hands and gave a forced smile. Jia clansmen let out a breath of relief upon seeing Jiaping moving out, their expressions clearly easing up. The bandit monkeys let out odd yells when they saw Jiaping's physique, their gazes filled with contempt and disdain. Monkey King was already sitting down. He indifferently lifted the wine jar and drank a mouthful of monkey wine. They are indeed animals, judging people by appearances. Jia Long sneered. Jiaping looked weak, but actually possessed strength of two bears. It was just that he used tendon coiling goo which intertwined his whole muscles and tendons just like tree roots, and thus compressing his muscles. Jiaping sat down and stretched his arm. His arm wasn't even a quarter of the Monkey King's arm. However, after they started, the deadlock only lasted a moment before the Monkey King was defeated. Instantly, the howls and screeches of the monkey stopped. The Monkey King's eyes were opened as wide as saucers, revealing an incredulous expression. Jia Long chuckled and waved his hand, signaling the troop to continue moving. The monkeys that were blocking the path automatically made away and didn't make any moves. When a portion of Jia Clan's troops moved forward, the monkeys howled and again blocked the path. The Monkey King wasn't convinced in its loss as it slammed the stone table and challenged Jiaping. Jiaping had a smile on his face as he gained another victory. "Everyone, I'm going to move first." Jia Long cupped his hands and after calling out to the others, the Jia Clan's troops and wagons passed through the checkpoint. "All right, next it is my Lin Clan's turn." "Lin Dong." Lin Clan's vice leader shouted. The others didn't argue. They had already discussed the order of the caravan. Time continued to pass and parts of the caravan had also moved forward. To pass through the Fei home mountain and decrease the losses to the minimum. All the great clans nurtured a lot of specific goo masters. Ox strength, tiger strength, elephant strength, python strength, horse strength. The goo masters possessing these went to compete, each showing their talents. Some lost and some won. Most of the people had passed through the checkpoint. Finally, it was Zhang Clan's turn. Zhang Zhu didn't look good. He was a healing goo master and wasn't good at strength aspect. Moreover, when arm wrestling with the Monkey King, one could only use their strength and not the goo worms. If they were discovered to have cheated by using goo worms, they would be attacked and killed by the monkey groups. The troops Zhang Clan brought in this caravan didn't have any other goo masters except him, a rank 3 goo master. Thus, they were the weakest in strength in the whole caravan. Shang Xinci did not have an easy life in Zhang Clan, and was shunned aside for being an illegitimate child. The situation had become worse after her mother died of illness. In light of her mother's will, Shang Xinci sold the family assets and organized this caravan. Most of Zhang Clan's people looked forward to this disgrace of the clan dying outside. Thus, they didn't send any goo masters to reinforce her. Uncle Zhang Zhu doesn't need to worry too much. They are nothing more than goods. It is okay as long as people are safe. Shang Xinci had a delicate heart. She softly consoled Zhang Zhu when she noticed his expression. The only one remaining is Zhang Clan. Tisk, no need to watch. They are sure to lose. I am quite familiar with that Zhang Zhu. It is said that Zhang Clan's girl organized this merchant group by herself. Hence, there is only Zhang Zhu to put up a front. Many Gu masters stood behind the checkpoint, waiting to see a good show. They had all, more or less, lost some goods. Their mood were naturally not too good. Comparison produces happiness. The unlucky people often felt relieved by seeing a more unlucky person. Many were looking at Zhang Clan, trying to find comfort in their hearts. Goods can be lost. Only lives are truly important. Uncle Zhang Zhu, you don't need to go. We will just let these monkey groups take the goods. Shang Xinci said. Sigh, miss, you don't know. We can't pass through without competing. These monkeys are very obstinate. We must arm wrestle. Miss, we can lose, but we can't let others belittle us. I will go. Zhang Zhu cupped his hands and forced himself to walk out. Wait. Right at this time, Fang Yuan walked out of the crowd. Miss Zhang, you are my benefactor. Let me be the one to go. He cupped his hands and said to Shang Xinci, You. The servant girl Xiao Dai rolled her eyes. You are not a Gu master. Don't add trouble at this time of crisis. Shang Xinci smiled. Hey too. I have received your intention. This isn't a joke. The Monkey King has great strength. Didn't you see some of those Gu masters' arms fractured? Miss, even if my arms fracture, I will repay you. Fang Yuan persevered. You, how can you be like this, not knowing your limitations? If your arm gets fractured, wouldn't it be my missy who has to waste time healing you? Xiao Dai waved her hand in disgust. Don't stir trouble. Lady Zhang, you don't know. I have always had extraordinary strength since young. Even adults didn't have as much strength as me when I was a kid. I must go this time. Fang Yuan then turned and walked towards the Monkey King. Hey too. Shang Xinci wanted to stop him, but was stopped by Zhang Zhu. Miss, he is not a moron. He definitely has some confidence. Sometimes, we need to believe in others. Zhang Zhu persuaded Dai. In fact, he had no faith in Fang Yuan. He only thought this would teach a good lesson to these mortals who had brought him trouble. Look, Zhang Clan actually sent out a servant. Haha, Zhang Clan has no people left. They are sending out a servant to lose face? Fang Yuan's figure soon attracted the attention of the others.